Welcome to the Pastured Pig Podcast, where we share the successes and challenges of raising pigs on pasture. We talk to producers all over the country, from small homesteads to large commercial pasture operations. Whether you're new to pastured pigs or have been raising hogs for decades, we hope you hear new ideas and new perspectives on pasturing hogs. Here's your host, Troy McClung.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. We're back for another episode of the Pastured Pig Podcast. I am your host, as always, Troy McClung, and excited to have a good standby. I wouldn't say old faithful. I don't think he'd appreciate that, but a good standby back on the podcast. Carl Blake, who we've had on, I think this will be his third time on the podcast. Bringing Carl back. Carl's almost like checking the news. You know, you kind of want to know what's going on in the pastured pig world. You reach out to Carl and say, hey, what's the update? What's any breaking news, or what are the headlines? So we asked Carl to come back and giving us a little update there. And my goodness, that guy has a ton of stuff going on. You know, he not only has his farm operation, but he's got all these products, these inventions, all these different things coming out to help us in the pastured pig market, as well as, of course, maintaining the Facebook page, all those things that we interact with. So I appreciate Carl taking the time to come on, and this is going to be like drinking from a fire hose a little bit, because we go through some things pretty quickly. Carl hits the high points on stuff, and as is typical, he had a lot of going on. So you'll notice there's some odd jumps in the podcast, because it actually took us about half a day to get this interview nailed down in between conference calls that he had to do. So we'd talk for a little bit, take a break. We'd both come back, talk for a little bit, take a break, come back. So there may be some less than smooth transitions there, but it still makes sense. It all holds together. But if you notice why there's a hard break here or there, then that's why. Little look behind the curtain as to how some of these things transpire. So without any further ado, I'm going to jump right in and let Carl take over. Today I have with me Carl Blake, and you may recognize that name. He's been on the podcast several times, actually, but also he's well known in our pastured pig communities. In fact, he is the host and creator of many things, but one of which is the Facebook group Pastured Pigs for Meat and Profit that I get a lot of our interviews from. So first of all, Carl, appreciate you letting me do that. Second of all, welcome to the podcast.
You bet. Thanks, Troy. I appreciate what you're doing. I think you're doing a good service for a lot of the farmers out there, and you've been sticking with it, and that's a huge thing. I mean, it's like me in the beginning. I've seen people come and go, and they come and go within months. And I've been here for almost 13 years, and I don't plan to stop until I'm dead. Right. I think we're heading in the right direction, and if you keep at it like you are, why you're just going to be a better resource for a lot of the pig people out there, and I appreciate that.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Those are kind words, but yeah, I can't thank you enough for letting me use your audience to draw people in, and again, my goal is to, like you said, get things spread out, spread the word, and let others. The feedback I get, I really appreciate people say that, I listened to so and so, and that gave me some insight on how to either start mine or tweak my setup. So that's to me is what it's all about.
Well, I get some really weird phone calls sometimes. And I don't mean that in a weird way, but I mean I get a lot of really odd phone calls.
I bet.
I can get them at 3 o'clock in the morning, but they'll say, "Hey, I heard you talking on this video in this podcast," and I'm like, "Well, hey, that's pretty cool. The people are listening to it." And so, yeah, and I probably haven't given you enough feedback that way, but the fact is that people have been noticing it, and I think that's great. I mean, the thing that we can do that is most helpful to all the farmers out there is giving them good, solid information and getting it from people that are actually doing it on a day-to-day basis. That's really the only way to, that's really the only way to give a legitimate answer and a legitimate insight to what we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Well said. And one thing that I want to point out before we dive right into our topics here is, for those of you that aren't on that Facebook group that maybe be listening to this, I strongly recommend you join that, simply because there's a lot of good community there, a lot of good discussion. And for example, things that jumps out at me is Carl, like what you've just posted and pinned to the top of the of that group is just an incredible resource of common medication doses and practices on how to dose your pigs and treatments and symptoms and those things. So it's something that you've put out there, taking the time to write, that somebody could just copy and paste in their phone or print off to have in their field guide, whatever. And it's an incredible resource, and it's totally free. Just go out and grab it and use it as you need to on your farm. Incredible stuff.
I agree. We try to post as much good information as we can, and some of that stuff's actually posted from guys that have been doing this for 50 and 60, 70 years. And, I always question when they say, well, that's just the way we've always done it. I mean, I'm always the one to question that. But there are many things that, because that's specifically the way we've always done it, actually turns out to be the best option and the best opportunity to do those things. So, I think we've got that here, and I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. So. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, for those listening, I will list down in our show description, I'll list the other two podcasts where we've had Carl on. Carl to me is kind of like a guy that you interview when you want to take a temperature of the entire industry, because he is so plugged in on things. So it's almost like coming to him for a news report at times. So I like having you back on a regular basis, just because you can kind of give us a heads up of what's going on. Well, with that being said, is there anything, before we jump into the specific topics, is there anything that you're seeing in the industry right now, during COVID? Is it settling down yet? Are processors getting a handle of things? What are you seeing on your side?
Well, at this point, I still don't think the processors are hitting the mark yet. In fact, I've seen a lot of the processors, because they do have additional business now, they slacked off from doing 80 hogs a week to now they're only doing 40. Why would they do that? Well, because they can charge more money now and they don't have to do as much work.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say specifically who that is or anything else. I'm just saying it. I've seen that in more than one case. But what is the pig market going to be like? Well, one thing I can tell you, and what I'm doing is, our Rustic Rooster Farms, we are actually out there trying to. We've got a new farm. We've got another 80 acres, 85 acres. We have almost 40 acres is nothing but 200-year-old oak trees that are dropping acorns on a daily basis out here. And this last year, there was just literally hundreds of thousands of acorns out here. And so we're actually feeding some of our pigs out specifically on the acorns. But the neat thing is we're taking Rustic Rooster Farms is building their herd again, and we're building up not only a herd just to offer pork to restaurants and such, but we're looking at providing breed stock of our pigs to a lot of the users out there, or farmers out there, that want to be able to start a program with pigs, with swine, be able to grow a good pig, and be able to process that pig and sell that pig and do it routinely. But we're going to give them pigs that can actually make them money. Our pigs have anywhere from 2 to 3 times the number of pigs in a litter as other breeds that are out there. But one of the things we're doing is we're offering fodder systems. And if you've never heard of fodder, fodder is the art of growing feed in a 7-day rotation or cycle. And we grow all the feed for our pigs, cows, goats, and all the other animals on the farm. Chickens, big time, they like the fodder. But we're offering fodder systems along with breeder pigs, and we'll be doing that all spring long. We now have 4 additional lines to our particular pig. It's called the Osark Mountain Waddle, and we also have the Swabian Hall. But the Ozark Mountain Waddle is a derivative of the Swabian Hall that we actually have made improvements on. Rate of growth, back fat, those are all things that we've been really trying to address. And rate of growth was the big one. And we now have pigs that can do 272 pounds in 5 months and 2 days. That's a heritage pig with marbling in 3 months. I mean, that's an amazing piece of swine.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're taking it, our farm is doing it from that perspective, but the neat thing on our farm is that we are producing commercial fodder systems out there, all the way from 50 pounds a day all the way up to 20, 30, 40 tons a day. So we have everything in between, but the neat thing about it is that coming in March, we'll have what we call Fodderfest. And Fodderfest, you'll be able to actually come to our new farm, be able to see pigs and see how it's being done and see our pens and see the watering systems and all the things that we do. But you'll also be able to see some of the most advanced fodder systems in the United States. We have one building, a 40 by 80 building, that's specifically dedicated to nothing but several different kinds of fodder systems. You'll be able to see a fully automated system. You'll be able to see a 2,000 pound a day manual system, and then you'll have all of our see-through fodder systems, 150 pounds a day, 500 pounds a day, 1,000 pounds a day. We'll have all those here and operational on our property that you'll be able to see, and you can see, feel, touch, see the grass. You can actually watch the grass grow, which may not be exciting, but after you see your fodder systems growing grass and you're actually out there feeding it to your animals, and you notice the health of your animals has doubled and tripled in terms of, just the fact that they don't need meds anymore, it becomes a huge, huge thing, part of your farm. And fodder, you'll be able to see all the fodder we have. You'll be able to see the pigs. And then, of course, you'll be able to see all the tools and things that we make that make life easier for farmers, like our nut boss. Don't ask me why I call it that. It just seemed like the name popped into my head. The nut boss allows you to castrate pigs. You can castrate little pigs. We have two different models, a small one and a large one. And the small one, a 7-day piglet pops right in there. You take his nuts right off. Takes 5 seconds, and one person can do it with one hand. It's amazing.
Yeah, I was watching. I think you posted a video on your Facebook page the other day. I believe it was your daughter that was castrating a pig, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was our 12-year-old daughter. And the reason that we decided to let her do that was she said she wanted to try it, and she expressed an interest in helping do that stuff on the farm. And I was like, wow, okay, so you want to try it? And so we actually took video, and it was one take, and she did it. She did it exactly the way I showed her how to do it. She didn't know how to hold the blade. I showed her how to hold the blade, and she got it down. I mean, it's not a big deal. She now routinely helps on the farm.
Yeah, that's great.
When I told her to go out and I need those 30 pigs castrated, I don't have a problem. I can send her out there. She does shots. She can go out and vaccinate pigs. She knows what she's doing. I mean, she's 12 years old. But you know what? I can't hire people to come out and do that kind of work because most of them can't do it, don't know how to do it, they're not sure they want to do it. And I can pay them $20, $25 an hour and still not get good help. But you know what? I got a 12-year-old daughter here who just kicks ass. She goes out there, and the nice thing is she's 12, but by the time she's 16 or 18, at least I keep this video around. I can always show the boys she brings by the video just to give them an idea of what her capabilities are, just so we keep them in line.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't cross the daughter. She knows how to take them off.
She's good with a knife. But that was a good way to point out to people that are sometimes squeamish about it, don't want to do it. They're rather trepidatious about it. I think she can help alleviate some of that because they know that, 12-year-old did it, boy, why can't we do it? And I got to admit, I don't like castrating anything.
Yeah.
But it's one of the things we have to do on the farm for a lot of reasons. But that's just one of them. But the neat thing about our nut boss cutting tool is that it's solid stainless. It's really simple. It doesn't weigh 150 pounds. You can put it on the side of a golf cart. You can put it on the side of a fence. You can put it on the side of a building. You can put it just about anywhere and castrate pigs.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
And it does, in the bigger, the larger one can actually do, 20, 25-pound pigs if you want to stick them in there. That's not a problem. So, I mean, we try to make things a little easier for people this way, for the farmers. And then we also make a deherring tool. The deherring tool is for pigs to deher a pig after you've scalded it, which pig roasters, and that's where we sell our American hot box. That's the ability for us to, roast that 100-pound pig in 4 hours. But you can use the deherring tool. We have several processors around the country that get them every month because they wear them out. And we sold over 500 of the deherring tools in the last 3 years.
Yeah. Wow.
So it's a good time saver. Works really well. It's and that's what we're trying to do is all the little things. Like we have a little a bracket that we build that you can make your do it yourself feeders and waterers. It's a special stainless steel bracket. The pigs can't tear it up or bend it or do anything. You add your own PVC pipe to it, and it screws it right down. Boom. You've now got a water. You've got a feeder. You can hang it from your fence. You can hang it from wood. You can screw it down. I mean, these are all things that make it, make the life easier for the farmer.
Right. Yeah.
So, we're building these things constantly and every day and building out new products. We're actually getting ready to release an automated fodder system, which is a fully 100% automated system. Seed goes in one end, and then the feed comes out the other. So it's kind of a neat thing, and we've actually have our own little robot in there and everything. It's a neat deal.
That's cool.
So we'll be releasing that, and you'll be able to see one of those actually functioning in March at Fodderfest.
Right. Well, Carl, let's back up. My goodness, I feel like I just drank from the fire hose with you here. Let's back up a little bit if we can. So first of all, let's talk about. I know if people have listened to the podcast, they know where here is when you refer to that. But give us some details geographically where all this is taking place.
Well, initially, everything that I was doing was located in Iowa. However, I met this really, really beautiful, sexy pig lady down here in Missouri. And she liked my pigs, and she had bought pigs from me, and she was raising them down here, and she had her own little farm. And I had to get out of Iowa because it was 9-foot snow drifts and 62 below zero cold. Just I can't take that anymore. I said enough of that crap. And so I moved to Missouri, and I met Courtney. And Courtney and I became a couple, and we have 2 beautiful children right now. They're 5 and 4, Jax and Presley. And we have 3 other daughters. Courtney has 3 other daughters from the previous marriage, which was, Hannah, Morgan, and Parker. Mm-hmm. And it's been a really good thing. We've been raising pigs here. We're down located in Lake of the Ozarks, Missouri. Actually specifically in the Eldon area, which is like just north of the lake by about 4 miles. We build and do everything down here. We have 2 farms. We actually have Courtney's farm, and then we have my farm. And our corporate farm here is where we do all of our building and testing, and everything is done here. That includes our fodder systems and feeding systems and watering systems and all kinds of stuff.
So you guys, you build all that there? I mean, you're not outsourcing all this stuff out of country. You guys are actually building and engineering and designing there?
Everything is built, designed, and engineered here, and everything is built with American products. I actually work with Mennonites to create a lot of our stuff, so it's all hand-produced. Each one of our American hot boxes is hand-produced out of stainless steel. It's milled in the United States, but it's handmade right here. And if you ever got one and you saw it, you'd wonder how the heck it's handmade and it's not done by a machine because our tolerances are so close.
Yeah, wow.
We're actually, one of the things that I've built that's been very, very successful is our seed filtration system. I have a special seed filtration unit that I've designed that includes ultraviolet light in it that actually kills all the mold, mildew, and pathogens on your seeds. We use that on our seeds before we put them into our fodder system, and thereby eliminating the mold and mildew in our fodder box. And we build and manufacture all that stuff right here. Yeah. And so,
wow, that's great.
Actually, I've sold like a half a dozen of our seed filtration systems in the last month, and they're going out all over the United States. But they do 30 bushels an hour. It's a small one, but instead of being these $7,000 to $20,000, $30,000 seed cleaning filtration systems, ours is $15.99.
Right. Wow.
And you add your own, and see, it's another do-it-yourself kind of thing because most farmers have a shop vac. We actually utilize a shop vac on our seed filtration unit, and when you turn that on, it puts you run your seed through it. It takes out all the shaft and all the light seeds and the broken ones and everything else, and then at the end it has the ultraviolet light or UVC light that the seeds are exposed to, and it kills all the mold and pathogens that are floating through the machine.
Yeah, and I know that for a fodder system, that's usually the biggest complaint people have is they don't keep it clean. They're at some point they're dealing with mold, they're dealing with the mildew issues just because of all the moisture, correct?
You're absolutely spot on, and that's what the problem is. All the fodder systems that are out there, nobody addresses it properly. I did all of the pioneering with hydrogen peroxide, and I developed a way to use hydrogen peroxide. But the problem was I wanted to approach it from a different perspective instead of just, putting everything through the water system and then trying to correct it. I wanted to go and kill all the mold pathogens before it got to the box. And then it just took a little bit, and that's where our probiotics, I developed a probiotic called Fodder Flora. And our probiotics, they're microbes in there, and they actually eat all of the mold and pathogens. So when we kill the mold and bacteria in the seeds before it goes into the fodder system, we now have a probiotic that we inject into the water that increases the nutritional content. It helps animals with their gut health, but at the same time kills any mold and mildew that's left in there, so you end up with a perfect product when you're done. And so it really, really works well. Now, we have one other method. We actually, in all of our fodder systems, the air circulation system also has a UVC scrubber built into it. So any pathogens or any mold spores that are floating around inside the box get killed immediately as they pass through the box. And we circulate the air sometimes 7, 8, 9, 10 times a minute. So anything that's floating around in there goes through our system and is killed. So we actually send out really high-quality air to all of the machines, to all of the plants that are growing, and we eliminate the mold and pathogens and spores.
Wow.
So we have the tightest system, I think, in the entire industry, and that's really helping us to, develop a very high-quality feeding system.
So,
and keep in mind that our fodder system is not only providing feed products for animals, but we are also providing food for human consumption as well.
Yeah, no, that's great. So everything you just discussed is going to be available to actually see, to touch, to watch work at Fodderfest this spring, correct?
Absolutely. Every bit of it will be there to put your hands on, and we'll have hands-on testing and demonstrations, and we're going to roast several pigs. We're probably going to roast, somewhere between 4 and 6 pigs, and you'll be able to actually see how that's all done, and we'll have a complete demonstration. In fact, the day prior to Fodderfest, we're going to have a big class, and we're going to teach how to do pig roasting, and we teach the class for the business of pig roasting so that you can learn how to do it and make money for your farm. I mean, we didn't make the hot box just because it was a fun thing to do. We made it as a means of allowing farmers to get themselves a leg up and make $3,000 to $4,000 to $6,000 more a month on their farm without having to spend too much energy, because it's only a pig roast is a 6-hour project. If you use any other system other than ours, it's a 14 to 34-hour project.
Yeah.
Ours is 6 hours. You're in, you're out, you collect your money, and you leave. And you have a hot box, a roaster that never needs to have parts replaced, that'll last until you can pass it down to your children. It doesn't, my competitors out there, their stuff rots the very first time you start cooking. And then you got to replace all those parts sometimes 3 and 4 times a year. Mm-hmm. Mine never has to have anything replaced, ever.
Yeah. So for this event, have you set the actual dates yet? Is there a registration process? Is there an online way that people can find out more info?
I have not done that, but you can follow us on Fodderfest on Facebook, and the dates will be posted. We actually have a website and everything, but it's just not been. We haven't updated it yet because we haven't determined the date yet. We're still working on this COVID thing to see how this is going to play out.
Right. Yeah.
Because I think in the spring, we're raising pigs and everything because we think that there's going to be times are going to open up for us to, processors are going to get some slots and new processors. There's 5 new processors coming online right now in Missouri alone.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
we're cutting along quite a ways, and I think if you look in the spring, I think things will really start opening up, and I'm hoping March is when we start opening up and we bring a lot of people in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I understand that's tentative right now. We'll just see how it shakes out. But
Right.
what we'll do is if you send me information, I'll keep our listeners updated on it, and you put it out here on the podcast in future episodes. Okay, Carl. So I wanted to back up real quick and talk about these Ozark Mountain Waddle pigs. Now, for those of people that have listened to the podcast, when Carl came on 2 years ago, I believe we talked about his Swabian Hall, and we got into the details of that. But this is something new you're working on, right? Can you give us a little bit of detail there of what you've got going on?
Yes, sir. The thing is that the Iowa Swabian Hall, we recreated a pig from 1821 Germany. What we were trying to do was get a better pig for charcuterie and a better pig to eat. And I thought recreating the pig that won 4 World's Fairs in Germany was actually probably something we could use in the United States. So what I did was I bred the Swabian Hall into existence. I spent a lot of time researching what the actual pigs were that made up that pig, the breeds. And it was a combination of the Michon pig from China and the Russian wild boar. And it was the pig of the day in Germany anyway. The Russian wild boar was, that was the pig. But the problem was they were too lean, too dry, a lot like they are today. So he was looking at a way to, the King of Germany, King Wilhelm of Germany was really into providing a better pig by breeding their best pigs with the pig from China, and they came up with this great pig called the Swabian Hall. And that was the region of Germany that the pig was from, and turned out to be an exceptional pig. And I brought it here to the United States. In terms of breeding it into existence, I located some Michon pigs, and I bred them to the Russian wild boar. And I had no reality was going to say that I was going to have the same pig, with several hundred years in between the pigs and genetics and everything else. But I figured as close as I could possibly get by utilizing, as pure pigs as I could find. My Michon pigs were from Iowa State University, which got them directly from China, which there was no taint in them. There was no pigs that were, they hadn't crossbred them to other pigs. I mean, they had, but they had the pure herd, and I bought the pure herd from Iowa State. So what I did was I recreated the Swabian Hall, and we called it the Iowa Swabian Hall. And that pig went on to win the Krishan 555 in San Francisco, the very first event. And it went on to win the Krishan 555 6 more times. And then we were on the Andrew Zimmern show, the Stephen Colbert show, the Mike Rowe show, Somebody's Got to Do It. We went on to be in the cover of the New York Times web. We were on we did a story on us in the Des Moines Register, several magazines, several different articles all over the United States as well as other countries. We were actually, they actually did some articles on us in Korea, Poland, Czechoslovakia, and then of course the Andrew Zimmern show is shown all over the world, and I get weird phone calls from Peru or some weird place like that, and people asking me how they can get our pigs.
Right.
So it was a really neat thing to be able to do that and make a really, really good pig. But the problem was that I didn't think and see it in the original Swabian Hall from Germany in 1984 was nearly extinct. They brought the breed back by breeding it into the Wessex Saddleback into the Swabian Hall. And that did a lot of things too. It increased the growth rate. The litter sizes were enormous still. But it added a few things, and I did the same thing to the Swabian Hall. The Iowa Swabian Hall, what I tried to do was take the Iowa Swabian Hall as it was, but yet improve it, or get a second version of it. So what I did was I did 2 things. I bred the Iowa Swabian Hall to a Wessex Saddleback like they did in 1984, and I created another version of the Iowa Swabian Hall, which is more closely related to the Swabian Hall of Germany of today. But then I decided that I wanted to take it further than that, and I wanted to be able to have that pig with better growth rates, faster growth rate, and add some other elements to it. Well, that's when I started working with a fellow out of Kentucky by the name of Travis Hood. And I worked with Travis Hood in terms of trying to recreate or create a better version of the Swabian Hall. And we think we did that when we bred in the Andrews Red Waddle, and there's some other things bred in there too, but the Andrews Red Waddle was a pig that only Travis actually had, the only ones available in the United States, with the exception of some still out in Portland, Oregon. But I took that pig, we bred that pig up, and what we've done is it's now called the Osark Mountain Waddle, because it's a black pig with waddles, but it grows extremely fast. It marbles in 3 months. It's got an 1.5 inch and a quarter fat cap, dark red meat, and beautiful marbled meat, and it marbles in 3 months.
Yeah, wow.
So what we're doing is it has litters of 15 to 20. We've had several 17 in a litter. So we're able to produce large numbers for small farmers so that they can make more money on the pigs. So what we're doing is, come spring, we will be offering trios, a boar, 2 gilts. I also working with another farm in DeSoto, Missouri. They are also breeding up our Ozark Mountain Waddles, and as well as Swabian Halls. So we'll be able to meet the demand because there just isn't any way that I could meet the demand for all the people that were coming on and trying to buy breed stock or wanted to buy pork to eat. We just couldn't fill the demand. So now what we're doing is we're not only going to fill the demand, but we're also going to be providing breed stock so people can breed them up and then put them out there. And if you want to compete with your Berkshire guys, compete with the other people with their Tamworths and that, because this pig doesn't even come close to any of those pigs. They're like number 7, 8, and 9 on the list of best pigs. Ours is going to be in the top 1 and 2.
Yeah, gotcha. All right, so that's something we can look forward to later this spring as far as availability and just the rollout of that. So we'll keep everyone posted on that. Well, man, that's great. I know you've got an absolute ton of stuff going on right now. So before I let you go, where can people find out details about you? The farm, the hot box, the fodder system. What's the online access there?
Well, you can see us at www.americanhotbox.com. You can see our fodder systems at americanfodderbox.com. Fodderfest is www.fodderfest.com. There's no new information posted there, but I will get some information posted tonight for Fodderfest coming up in March. There is the website for Rusty Rooster Farms and Swabian Hall are not up right now. They're actually being finished. You can also find information on our probiotics at www.fodderflora, FODDERFLORA.com. And you can also see us online at Facebook at Fodderfest, American Hot Box, American Fodder Box, Fodder Fed. There's a group we have called Fodder Fed that you can go to that allows you to learn all about fodder and how it can help your animals and our systems and all that kind of stuff. A group called Fodder Fed. And then the last site would be Fodder Fed. That's it right now.
Okay. Is that all? Is that all you're working on right now, Carl?
That's all I'm working on.
Yeah. Slacker?
But, and on Facebook we have a number of groups, and Fodder Fed is one of the good ones because we have that. Oh, well, I forgot to mention Pasture Pigs for Meat and Profit.
Yeah.
And then we also have, now something that I fired up that has gotten a lot of interest lately is Pasture Pigs for Beginners.
All right.
If you're new to pigs, you're new to fodder, you're new to all of this, and you want to learn about the basics, Pasture Pigs for Beginners is a really good place to go and ask your questions and not feel like you're going to get beat up by more experienced people. And, it's just a good place to go to learn about beginner things. We've actually added units to it, which is units is a way for us to do teaching and training. We're actually doing units in our Pasture Pigs for Meat and Profit as well. The units actually compartmentalize it. Like we offer a unit on castrating pigs. We offer a unit on how to feed pigs. breeding pigs, how to take care of them, how to move them, what kind of shelters they have. We have all these different units that you can actually go into, and it gives a complete explanation from our group and from our members and our experienced people, and it gives you good information, like, for instance, how to deworm your pigs. What are the best, most effective means of deworming your pigs and removing parasites? All of those things are right there in our website or our Facebook groups, and we have created new groups on craftpork.com, www.craftpork.com. We actually have our own Facebook system. It's like Facebook, it's like MeWe, but it's ours, and we own it, and it's our system designed specifically for pasture pigs, and we also have one called www.foddercommunity.com, and that's our fodder community. If you want to learn about fodder and systems, foddercommunity.com allows you to go in and access it, and it looks similar to Facebook, but it's an actual system that I designed and developed for us.
Yeah, wonderful. Man, that's a lot of great resources there, and awesome that's available and free, of course. So, yeah, I'll post all these links down in the show notes there so people can find them, and be sure to check that out. Well, Carl,
I really appreciate you, Troy, for all this work that you do, and I really appreciate that. I mean, I probably ain't told you enough, but I like what you're doing, and I think what you're doing is very helpful to a lot of people, and I think your outreach is getting more and more out there, and the more stuff that I think you do that's legit like this, in terms of getting information out there, just the more people are going to be, using your podcasts and stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's the plan. Hopefully that it's no matter who we're talking to, or at least finding some nuggets that people can glean from it to help them either improve their setup or maybe take that first step to get into it. Because I think the more people in the business doing it right, I think that's going to raise everybody up. So,
absolutely.
Whew. Well, that was a lot of info to throw at you. As I mentioned, Carl has a ton of stuff going on. And again, all things to pastured pig related and hopefully help improve the market. Got some great products there. It's really neat to see kind of behind the curtains, behind the scenes of how Carl does these things, develops these products, and a lot of work that he has into it. I don't understand when he sleeps, but he gets a lot done. And as I mentioned, I can't thank him enough. Obviously, a vast majority of the interviews that I'm getting, that you guys are hearing and hopefully enjoying, are because he allows me to go on his Facebook group and solicit. Honestly, there are other Facebook groups associated with pigs where I'm not allowed to do that. I get kicked off. So I appreciate Carl doing that. I appreciate him being willing to allow us all to have these discussions through his group, and of course allow me to reach out and find you guys as well. With that being said, if you know of anyone that should be on the podcast or would like to hear somebody you want me to track down, then let me know. I'll do my best to reach out and get them on here. And if you want to be on yourself, or you've got a topic that you want to suggest, you can go to our website, redtoolhouse.com, click on the Pastured Pig Podcast link, and there's just a simple little form that you can fill out there. Just, takes 30 seconds possibly, and put that information in. That comes to me, and then I can reach out to you and we can get something scheduled. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. I pray everyone have a great week. And as I'm trying to think, you try to think of what's going live and what you're recording and how late. Anyway, if you're hearing this and it's not Thanksgiving yet, I pray you have a happy Thanksgiving and you get to spend some time with friends and family safely. All right, take care, everybody.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of the Pastured Pig Podcast. To learn more about our podcast, or to submit topics or recommend guests for future episodes, visit redtoolhouse.com.